Hello and how are you? My name is Mahidum Bark and I welcome you to our 12th video of learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. In today's video, we're going to proceed with our daily series of learning how to make mobile applications, and I hope you've been following. If you haven't, I recommend you to watch our previous videos so you can be on the same with that, or so you can be on the same page with us. So today we're going to resume from where we stopped at exactly in the previous classes, and we'll see how we can proceed with other parts of the videos. So as you can see, we have already accomplished all these, and today we are going to proceed from there. So previously we did the list, and we looked at how you can make independent widgets. So this is a simple list that we did, whereby you could add an item and then maybe you add there the age, and then you put maybe the country, and then add, and then you go ahead and add that information into our list. So today we're going to see how we can take it from there by doing the local database. For example, you see this list. Once you close this application, this list will vanish or it will disappear. Why? Because we don't have the local version of the database. So we're going to see how we can learn. we're going to learn how we can implement the local database. For example, if you save something, next time you open the mobile application, you should be able to retrieve it from the local database. That's what we're going to implement today. Now, there are so many ways of how you can implement the local database, and there are popular packages. One of the packages that you use in Flutter to implement on the local database is called what? It's called Hive. So if you come on internet and search for Flutter Hive, you'll be able to see that package here. So it's called Hive. So that Hive can help you to save your information into the local database, so that next time you open your mobile application, you're able to do what? To retrieve your data. So another one that is popular, it is called SQFlite. So SQFlite, it uses the SQLite of the phone of the Android operating system to implement the SQFlite. So here it is available on these different platforms: Android, iOS, and macOS. So that is where it is available, and here the SQL Hive, the Hive, it is available on all platforms, and that is Windows, iOS, Linux, macOS, web, and Windows, and Android itself. So that is where it is available. So it means that even though this one is available everywhere, but it has some of its constraints that makes it not to perform exactly as how the SQFlite is. So this SQFlite, it will give us ability to write the SQL queries, and that makes it much more. That's what makes it much more popular compared to what SQL Hive. So today we're going to begin with the SQFlite. So maybe in your free time you can also try to teach yourself Flutter Hive. So let's go ahead and get started with what? With SQFlite. And see how we can use it to implement the local database. But one thing, it's not available on web. So if you want to make it available on web, you have to add this package of SQFlite common FFI web. That's when it will be available on what? On web. And this is the one that you'll have to add it. You add there to make it available on what? On Windows. But for now, we're going to use our Android emulator. So it's not the one that you're going to use to learn. So don't use web to practice this one. You have to use what? Android emulator. So with that much said, let's go ahead and see how we can add this package into our project and see how we can do different queries. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to see how we can install it. So to install it, you just simply come here to install, So as you know, there will always be two ways of how you can install it. You can either install it by running a command, or you can install it by adding this to your dependencies. So I'm going to add this, I'm going to run this command so it can be installed in my project. So I'll copy that and then come to Android Studio, and I open the terminal, and then I make sure that I'm in a project that I want to add that project, that SQFlite to. So I'll go ahead and paste there my code, my command. So to process, and we'll wait for it. Yeah, it has finished processing, or it has finished installing. So right now we should be having that SQFlite in our YAML file. So if you come to pubspec.yaml, you should be able to see SQFlite in your dependencies. So that is good. So it means that we have now added SQFlite in our project. So now, first things first, what is the purpose of SQFlite? We have said SQFlite will give us ability to save information into our mobile phone. So next time you open the mobile phone, this information is still there. That is very important. For example, if you want to log in a user, you may need to know what? You may need to know their username and password and store them. I mean, their username and email address, and store them in in the local database. And then later, you check if they are logged in or not, basing on on the local database. So all this can be done by SQFlite. So you can use that ability to store the information when the user logs in. You store that information on their phone. So when they try to log in, to open the application again, you check that information if it is on the mobile app or not, and then go ahead and proceed, make them proceed. So it helps in that way, in so many ways, or to save the local data in your phone. It's very important also, maybe, for example, if you make, if you're making a mobile application, if you make a mobile application that involves fetching information from the internet. So it means that not every time you want the user to go and fetch the information from the internet. So you may need to save that information offline. So when the user tries to access, you give them the cached data on their machine, and that can make your application much more faster and saving the data. So that is how the saving on the data on the more local machine is very, very important. So with that much said, let's now go straight into practicals. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to see how we can add data on in the SQL, in our database. Okay, so we're going to follow this documentation, and then later we'll see how we can retrieve it. Then later we can see how we can edit it and how we can delete. Okay, so we're going to follow this documentation. Okay, we're going to follow this documentation. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to we've already installed. So the next thing that we're going to do, you have to open the database. Okay, so this is how you open the database. So once you open the database, then mean that database will be open for you to do what? To use. Okay, so we're going to put this value, we're going to write a function that will be dealing with the opening of the database. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to come to our project. This is our project, and then we're going to go to utilities and create a function that we'll use to be storing, to be opening our database. Okay, just a special function that will be doing that task. So I'll come to our project where it is here. Okay, this is it. So I'm going to create a class where I'll be putting my functions that I'll be using anytime. Okay, so I'm going to create a class that I'll be putting my function that I'll be using anytime. I can put that class here in the model, or you can create a special folder for those classes that I'll be using anytime. So I'm going to put it here in the model, and I'm going to come here and say new file. I'm going to call it utils. That. Okay, so it's nothing but it's going to be a what? So it is here. It's going to be just a what? A class called utils. So in this class, it's where I'll be putting a few things that I'll be using. For example, opening the database. So this is the what? This is the function that opens the database, right? So let's go ahead and open and read the function that will be opening the database. So I'll come here to our utils, and then I'm going to create a public static function. I mean static, and then I'm going to call it maybe open DB, open database. Okay, so this class will be just doing nothing apart from starting the database, so it have to be asynchronous, and then it will go ahead and open the database, and then we return the database. Alright, so let me press Alt and Enter so this can be imported. Move your mouse there and press Alt and Enter so it can be imported. So it has been imported. Alt and Enter. Come here. Enter other thing. Yeah, alright. So it's going to be asynchronous, meaning that it can as well work in what? In background. Alright, so now here we're going to say db equals to await and then open database. So this is a function of what? Of SQFlite. So here we have to put a name that is not going to change every time. Okay, we have to put a name that is not going to change every time because it is a file where our database will be saved. Okay, so you can put that name separately or you can put it there. So let me go ahead and call it learn learn what? Learn Flutter .db. Okay, learn Flutter.db. So that is the file where our database will be stored. So it will say open DB and then await and then return this one. So after doing that, we're going to be now calling that function. Okay, we're going to be calling that class. You're going to be calling that function to open our database. So once you finish using the database, you can close it from here. And this is how you close it. So this is how you wait for the database that has been opened. Okay, so the first thing you'll have to get the location. So this is in case you want to use the what? You want to use the location path. Okay. And this is how you delete the database. So this is how you wait for the what? For the database. All right. Now, this database has multiple things that can take multiple parameters. All right, I'll come and explain those ones later. All right, so now we are going to we're going to create a user interface that we're going to use to interact with the database. It's going to be much more of this list because we're going to implement something like this. So let's go ahead and create the user interface that we're going to use to interact with the database. So I've written this function. So let's go ahead and create the user interface now that we're going to use to interact with the database. Okay. So I'll come to our what? To our page here. I'll save, I'll open, I'll copy this 14 and then paste it, and then I'll call it 15 and then I'm going to call it local database. Okay, that's going to be a screen. So I'll come and rename this class. All right, so after doing that, I'll come and change the title here and call it local database. That's it, right? So let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and add this into our home screen. All right, so that is how I've added. So someone should be able to navigate to the what? The local database. All right, so here's our database. Now when someone clicks there, they should be able to proceed to the what? To the database. All right, so now let us see how we can implement this and make what? And make it a real database that can save information. So we're going to make a, let's say that I'm going to make my list of movies or my favorite movies that I've watched, whereby we'll have to get the name of the movie, the actor, and the rating. Okay, so it means that we're going to create a separate model that is going to be responsible for handling that. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a model or a class that will be responsible for handling a movie that we want to save. Okay, so I'll come here and come here to models, and then I'm going to create another model called what? Called movie. Like that. So this one it is. I'll go ahead and say class. All right. So it will have. So first of all, it must have an ID. So it will have an ID of 0 by default. It will have the movie title and maybe the actor. And maybe the rating. So this rating can make it a what? You can make it so you can come here and see the different data types that Flutter accepts. Flutter SQFlite it accepts. So this rule, is the one that is spared for things which have decimal point like doubles. So you can come here and call it what? A double. So you can make this one by default be 0 also. So this will be the rating. So let's go ahead and do this form. Okay, the form that will be collecting our movies. All right, so here it is. So I'm going to remove all these because we don't need them. Okay, so let's go ahead and maybe I can come here and create also my list that I can call movies. I mean movie or form movie, the movie that will be in the form. Okay, so I can say movie. So form data, it will be like a movie, like the information that we'll be collecting at a time from the form. All right, like that. So I'll come here to the form, like when this first value changes. So this one I'm going to call it title. So the first one will be the movie title. So I'll come and change here, and then come and change also here and say movie title. All right. So I'll come here and come and put author or actor. And also here when it changes, I'll come and put here rating. So rating, it has to be what? It has to be a double. So I can say double dot parse, and then I pass the string that will have come from there, value to string like this. And then I call this one what? Rating. And then I'll come and change this one to what? To decimal. Let me see, available keyboard text that you can put here. I think number will work. Yeah. All right, so that's it. That's it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save and update. So I want here, when someone clicks here, I should call a function for adding a movie. Okay, so I'll first check if the title is not empty, if the age is not empty. Okay, if age is not empty, I mean, sorry, if author is not empty, we call it author, or we call it actor. So if one of those is empty, I'll do what? I'll send back the user. Alright, so with that message, let's say if these are not empty, we'll go ahead and add that information to the what? To the database, okay? And then reset the form. So that's what we're going to do right now, okay? So now we're going to write a function that can be adding that information into the database. Or we can put it here, we can put it outside this class, okay? So I'm going to put a function that I'm going to call add movie. So that function, its purpose will be giving it a what? A movie. Let me first remove this reset. We'll be giving it a movie, and then it saves it into the database. Okay? So this function is going to be within the same what? Within the same UI. I mean within the same screen. Okay? So if I want to create this function, I can move my mouse there and press Alt and Enter. Ask me to create a method, and then there it is. Okay, so here you can see it's called add movie, and it is receiving movie. So I can put here how it's receiving it as movie, and then I'm going to add that information to the movie, to the database. So the first thing here that we're going to do, we're going to check. We're going to open the database. Okay, open the database. If the database is okay, then we'll check if the table of movie is created. If the table of movie is created, we'll go ahead and do what? And add a movie. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So it can be a good practice to put these functions in one place so you don't repeat yourself many times. So this add movie, we can put it inside the what? Inside the movie model, so you can not repeat. You shouldn't repeat ourselves every time we want to do what? To add a movie. Okay, so I'm going to add it. I'm going to create a function inside the movie, and it's going to return a true or false. So if it's a success, return true. If it fails, return false. And that function will be responsible for just adding movies, okay, into the database. So I'll go ahead and open this movies model, okay, and I'm going to create a function that will be responsible for adding a movie or save a movie. Okay, so I can call it save movie. Then open bracket. So this function is going, okay, let me make it static. So it's going to be static so you can be able to access it even outside. Okay, static, add movie, to receive a movie, and then inside here, so we're going to do the logic of what? Of adding movie. So I want it to be returning a string. Okay, let us be returning a string. So if it is successful, return an empty string. If it fails, return a reason why it failed. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put here string. It's supposed to be static string first. Okay, then after I'll put here maybe what I can call string and call to response, and then make a response by default nothing, and then at the end I'll be returning here string, return string, like this. Alright, so let me go ahead and put here print adding. Okay, so let me go ahead and call this function and say add movie. I'll pass here the movie that will have passed to me. Okay, remember I've been doing this. Okay, so its task will be to add movie. So I'm putting it in this model of movie because we don't want to repeat ourselves. Oh, sorry, it's supposed to be movie dot add movie. So you can access it statically. This one is not what we've done. Movie dot add movie. Remember, we are here in the main screen, so we want to call this function that is on movie. Okay, so we call it movie dot add movie. Here. So you can call it maybe save movie. So I'll call it save movie so they can be different. Alright, so after doing that, you can say save items is already in movies, okay? So after doing that, let's go ahead and see if it is working by adding this in what? In console. So I'll reload my app and then open my console, clear everything there. So try to add, it will fail because I've not added. Okay, so they're saying person type not a movie. Yeah, I think there is an issue. You can first get. Okay, I think I need just to open here. Good. Yeah, so everything is okay. So right now, because we've not added anything, it is not showing anything. But we can create our simple function that can be working on that alert. Remember, we already have a package of toast. Okay, you already have package of toast somewhere. So you can create a function that will be just making a toast that will be using to communicate in case of want to show notification, right? So I remember we have a function for toast. Okay. I'll go and search toast. Yeah, I think we have it somewhere. It's in this file. Okay, so this is a toast function. So since we don't want to repeat ourselves, we're going to put this toast in what? In a function. It's in a static function, so you can keep on reusing it without writing CVs so many codes. Okay. So I'll go ahead and create a function just special for creating toasts. Okay. So I'll come here to utils and come and create here a static function that I'm going to call toast. I can call it my toast. Okay, so it will be getting a string of message, all right, and then it will be making this toast. Okay, so let's get rid of colors, background colors. All right, so the message that will be coming will be just passing it here, but we can make colors also if it success or if it fails. All right, so this toast function is under utils, so you can statically call it and then you use to display. So I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to check if the form is not filled properly. I should make a toast and ask the user maybe to complete the form. So I'll come here. Yeah, so I check if the form is not fully filled, I'll just go ahead and make a toast. Okay, utils. That what? The toast. So the toast, yes. Then first import utils. There it is. Then put the toast. Please complete form. All right. So ahead and pass maybe here a context, whether it is success or fail. I mean, whether it is a success notification or a warning notification. So I can come here and put colors, background color. So I'll say if it is success, it should show green. If it is fail, it should show red. And then I can put the text color to be white. All right. So by default, it is. I can make it by default to be success. So by default, I can make it to be success always. All right. This is just nothing but a toast function here. So if I come here and click, you see, that toast will show up. It's supposed to show up. It is still loading. So you see, please complete the form. So if I want to make it warning or a danger, I can say is what? I mean success and make it false. All right. So that's it. Now let's go ahead and now do the real logic of adding movie. So I'm calling this function of what? Of adding movie here. Okay. So this function is here. So inside this function, there is a function called save movie. Okay. Save movie. This one. So I can go ahead and open. Okay. So this is the place we're going to save movies. So I can put here maybe a toast. Utils dot what? Dot toast. And say time to save movie. See if it's really reaching there. So I can save. So when you try to add, let's see, please complete the form. So I'll go ahead and complete the form. So instead of age, I was supposed to call it actor, I think. So I can come here and put actor. And then rating, I can put maybe so go ahead and say add movie. You see, time to save movie. If time to save movie like that. All right. So after doing that, so the next thing is now to save the movie itself. Okay, save the movie. So the first thing before our database ends, I mean before our video ends, we're going to check if the database can be opened successfully. So to open the database, so you'll have to get it here, right? So we just simply say database. So I can import this database and call this one db equals to, and then say await dot utils open db. So this await must have here async if the function is going to be asynchronous, like that. So if our functions are asynchronous and you've done something, this something must be in the future. So you have to pass here future and then open square bracket and put there a string like that. So that is how we'll check. So I'll go ahead and check if this db is null or not. If it's not null, I'll go ahead and say and then if it's null, okay, so if it is not null, I'll go ahead and say, I just make a toast for now. And then say error in opening the database. And then else part, I can say successfully open the database. So let me make this one what? Let me make this one success to false. Alright, so here should be database open successfully. So alright, so that's it. Let's go ahead and see. So if it is null, I'll just say it is failed. If it's success, I'll go ahead and say it opened successfully. So let's go ahead and see. Time to save. Let's just remove this time to save because it is wasting our time. So try to add, it's causing an error, so you can see in the cut, the log cut, and see what error could it be. Database factory not initialized. Database factors only initialized when using SQFlite. When the SQFlite file, you must use database factory because I think we need just to restart our app and we see. So let's reset our app and see. saying long, but it's gonna finish. Yes, please.
I hope you're not fasting today.
Thank you so much. Alright, this has taken too long. I think our time is up. I think we can proceed from there in the next class. But make sure that you practice and make sure that you're able to open your database from the next class. At least you should be able to open the database. Then tomorrow we can begin with what? With the table creation. So alright, let's begin from there in tomorrow's class, and goodbye.